Welcome to the Coach Zing Show, helping you work less, earn more, and reach more people through creative content marketing. Join the Coach Zingers community, where the world's best coaches, therapists, authors, and speakers come together to discover the latest trends, forge powerful joint ventures, and grow their business together. Go to CoachZing.com/community to join. And now, here's your host, Doug Foresta.
Hello, welcome back to the Coach Zing Show. This is your host, Doug Foresta. This is a show we help you, coaches, therapists, speakers, and authors to work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. My guest today is Carrie Wilkerson, and we're going to talk about social media. We haven't talked about social media very much, and so I'm really excited about that. I know you'll get a lot out of this episode. Let me say a bit about Carrie, and I'll bring her right on. Carrie Wilkerson is a small-town girl who was able to think beyond the city limits. She's a best-selling author, international speaker, award-winning podcaster, and a sought-after radio host. Featured on CNN and Fox Business News and was named by Forbes as a top business influencer. She's also consulted marketing and launch teams of Dr. John Maxwell, Zig Ziglar, and other influential business leaders on business strategies and current trends. However, Carrie mostly enjoys helping ordinary people lead extraordinary lives. She speaks from the experience of a former corporate clock puncher, high school teacher, direct sales representative, consultant, and information marketer. She got her big start in high school bagging groceries for tips only on a military base, and now makes her living by giving tips to over 100,000 men and women as the Barefoot Executive. She can help you build the business you need so you can live the life that you want by connecting the dots between your why and your do. Whether you hang around for her tough love business coaching or her never-ending supply of personal, family, or life encouragement, she'll inspire you and help you to make a plan to do what you love on your terms from your home, and yes, even barefoot if you want. She's paid off over 6 figures in debt, lost over 100 pounds, and runs several successful businesses from home. She's the proud mother of 4 kids, ages elementary through college, always barefoot even as a kid, and nicknamed the Barefoot Executive while she was a pregnant at-home CEO. She believes that you can create a life you love while keeping your priorities intact. Shoes optional. And you can check out more about Carrie and learn more about her at carriewilkerson.com. That's CarrieWilkerson.com. I'll put that link on the show page. Carrie Wilkerson, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Wow, I like listening to that. That's a mouthful right there.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you've done a lot. And
I've been busy. No wonder I'm tired.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yes, exactly. So I wanted to start with, our departure point of the show about your favorite way to get the word out about what you do. And we were chatting for a moment before, and I know you had mentioned social media. And I was wondering if you could say more about how you use social media to get the word out about what you do to your tribe.
Yeah, I just jotted down what you said, how to work less, earn more through creative content marketing. And I love that. And I was just chatting with a client before you and I started recording, as a matter of fact, and she's overwhelmed by content, creating this content, creating that content, creating the other content. And I said, well, first of all, I think you're just overwhelming yourself with that word content. Cut yourself some slack and realize that, I think every time I open my mouth, it's content.
Right.
Whether I'm sharing a story about my kids or telling you something that happened with a client, like this is content right here. And We're just having a conversation. So I think that's why I love social media, is that it's such an organic conversation that helps me share content in a creative way. So it really fits so beautifully into what you're talking about. But the other reason I like it is because, I was raised in the South. You guys probably honed in on the accent pretty quick. But my mama told me from an early age, birds of a feather flock together. And then conversely, there's also guilt by association. So if you're hanging out with troublemakers, you're probably a troublemaker. And then Jim Rohn taught us that you're like the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? So if you're hanging out with achievers and goal setters and difference makers, then that's likely to be what you do too. So the difference is that when you're in social media, the reason it's such a great organic conversation is because birds of a feather flock together. So when Doug is liking my status or commenting on my status, his birds see that, right? The birds flocking with Doug see that and say, well, if Doug likes that, I might like that too. Let me go check out this barefoot person. And if they don't, then that's fine too, because like attracts like. And so I really like it as a natural, organic way to have a conversation with people that resonate with you. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And I think about, Facebook. I'm on Facebook quite a bit. And there are certain people that I like and I follow them because I want to see what they're up to. And then there's other people it's not, they might even be friends of mine offline, but I just don't necessarily follow what they do. And I love the way you said it, birds of a feather flock together. I hadn't thought of that in the context of social media.
Yeah, well, and so I think that may be, especially business owners or coaches that are trying to grow their businesses without spending a lot of money. The best thing to do is to go be in the places where your likely prospects are gathered. And this is the new watering hole. This is where people are and where they're hanging out. And we also can't negate the phenomenon of the silent watchers. Because I am such an active participant in conversations and life in general, the watcher is a phenomenon to me. I never would have said that 80% of people never post updates, but they like other people's updates and comment on theirs. And that really is the case a lot. There are a lot of people watching. I've had people comment on something or reach out to me to work with them or book me as a speaker when I've never, ever seen their name or engaged with them before. And they will invariably say, I've been watching you on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, for 2 years. You didn't know I was there, but I've been watching you for 2 years. My book publisher did that. I got my book deal backwards. I didn't write a book and go seeking to have it published. A publisher watched me in social media for over 2 years, called me, we want you to write a book. Here's an advance. Let's do this.
It is a very interesting phenomenon that people will watch us without commenting, and we don't even realize that people are watching us, right?
Right. And so then some of my biggest fans are people that I don't know their names or haven't engaged with them, but they feel like they know me really well because they've been watching and watching and watching, which I guess that's how movie stars feel sometimes, a little creeped out by the fact that that's happening. But I think it's just really smart of us to creatively share that content and our nature and our credibility and those kind of things because people are paying such close attention. It's really super interesting. And the other reason I love social media for creatively sharing content is because of the transparency of it. Anytime I go speak, I used to say sometimes when I go speak, but now it's all the time. Every time I go to a conference or go speak or meet someone in person, they will say to me, wow, you not only look just like you look on social media, because so many people are using their glamour shots or their high school pictures, yes. Right? Their skinny pictures. I use my skinny old picture. I mean, I'll tell you my rules about that in a minute, but they'll say, not only do you look just like you look on social media, I would have known you anywhere, but wow, I can pick out your voice in the room because you've shared, podcasts and videos. And the third thing they always say is you are just exactly like you are online. No right. surprises. And I love that. That's a huge compliment. So here's my tips for pictures on social media. My rule is this. Number 1, it should be within 5 years of your current age. Number 2 is it should be within 2 shades of your current hair color. Okay, that's more of a girl rule than a guy rule. Number 3, it should be within about 15 pounds of your current weight. If you show up and people have a flinch factor, meaning they're a little startled at how different you look than you look online, you've immediately lost their trust and they wonder what else you're glossing over.
That makes a lot of sense. What it reminds me of is I've had, friends who've gone on online dating and, they said, female friends who said, I went to meet this guy and he said he was 35 and I got there and he had to be like at least in his, 60s.
Wow. And like, wow, he had hair in his picture and no hair when we showed up or, whatever. I mean, I'm 42 years old. I have 4 kids, hard earned. My wrinkles are hard earned. Sometimes I have roots, whatever. And I update the picture when I go get the blonde touched up, whatever that's about. But I just don't want people to have any surprises when I show up in person. I want to be who they expected so that they know they can trust me in other things too. People want you to be real. They don't want you to be perfect. I went and shared the stage with some really big names at a conference a few years ago. And one of them I was really excited about meeting. She's kind of a legend, Barbara DeAngelis.
Yes.
A lot of people know her, right?
Absolutely.
I'm not a big student of her work, but she's a big name, and you can't dispute the fact that she's a big, well-known name. Used to be married to John Gray, the Venus-Mars guy. Anyway, she was standing right next to me as we were listening to other people speak, and I introduced myself. And when she told me it was her, I flinched. I thought I was talking to another attendee. I had no idea this was her. Her marketing materials, her flyers, her order form that she passed out that day she was selling from stage. The picture was at least 20 years and 70 pounds old. And I'm not being ugly. I'm not gossiping. It just is what it is. I looked at the thing. I had her picture in my hand and I'm standing next to her. And I did not make the connection that this was the same woman. There was such a drastic difference.
And that creates, like you said, the problem is that it creates a lack of trust immediately because people think, well, if you're hiding, if you're not congruent, right? If you're not the same in your marketing materials as you are as a person, what else are you hiding if it's
exactly. And I think our brain automatically does this. So as a speaker, I was standing there thinking, wow, I wonder if she's updated her content or her message more recently than she has her picture. Wow, I wonder if she's even relevant. If she's, and you can't help it. You can't help where your brain goes when you start to question people's credibility. So when people show up, they know I have extra weight. They know I'm not thin. I would rather them be pleasantly surprised that I've lost a few since they saw my picture than be shocked that I've been hiding, extra pounds. I would, I don't ever want anybody to go, wow, you sound so much younger online. I can't believe you're in your 40s. Well, I am 42. I am proud of it. I have kids in college, and kids at home in elementary school. So I think that social media sharing content is better than a book, is better than posting just articles because of all the facets around it. The other thing is my friends are in social media too. And so they'll comment on real life things, little things that they know about me that make me superhuman. And, my kid that's in college, she'll post on social media. And so people love to watch that too, because it makes me real. And I guess that's why I just love social media for sharing content. Yes, we could get into a discussion about paid Facebook ads or LinkedIn distribution or whatever, but I really just think it's like the party line. People listening into the conversation, people watching you in your natural habitat. Now, this all does kind of point back to the fact that you need to be real. You need to be who you are. You need to be authentic. I've come across several people in the last few weeks that when I met them in person, online, they're very bubbly and positive and encouraging. And in person, they were very diva and negative and whiny. And I just thought, holy smokes, my brain is going to blow apart. How do they maintain two personalities like that? That must be exhausting. So anyway, just be real, be consistent, and don't overthink your content. So every other author would probably just cringe when I say that. But I really think that content can be just as easy as, two things I learned today while I was in line at Starbucks, or, why I think, like the other day I posted that my kids were saying, no, we don't want to go to gymnastics tomorrow. We hate gymnastics. Don't make us start new gymnastics. And then the next day, my kids are saying, why are we leaving after only an hour? When do we get to come back again? Why haven't we been in gymnastics all year? How they shift and why it's important to hang through some of the dips, even in your business, because there is the breakthrough. You never know, don't talk yourself out of it even when it's tough. So even something just that simple, just a few lines on my Facebook page, I felt like that's content. Yes, it's a silly story about my kids, but why it's important just to hang in there.
But that is content. I mean, that's one of the things I've learned during the show. I think you're right. People get caught up in content means I need to write an ebook, but content is, and I love what you said about, being, the way I see it is like, be consistent, just be I think of that as, I like the idea of if you ran into me at the store, that I wouldn't be a different Doug than you'd hear on this show. Like you wouldn't get like a different version of me.
Right. Well, and that's me. I do some of my videos without makeup and in a ball cap and without jewelry and not all, gussied up is kind of a Southern word. And, I'll do amusement park videos where I'm on a ride with my kids and just, t-shirt and shorts. And so even if I ran into somebody at the grocery store in my small town, or even if I ran into somebody at the gym at the hotel where I was speaking, I don't ever feel like I have to hide or wear the big glasses or any of that, because I am just the same. I am just who I am. And I think people love it. People love that I'm not airbrushed, and love that I'm not perfect, and love that my grammar isn't perfect, and love that I'm, positive, but they also know I struggle with things, So anyway, I think it's really important. And in the economy that we have, I think that people are so tired of perfect and being numbers and having this unrealistic standard. They're tired of the be like me market. They're tired of that, hey, pay to be like me. I think they want to be like them. What I want my audience to do is be them, but just with their volume turned up and just a better version of them. I don't want them to be like me. Holy cow, poor world if everybody's like me. What a mess I am. And that's what makes me qualified to teach and to train, because I'm such a mess and I make it work anyway. So I think that's why social media is such a beautiful thing. It's less polished than the edited book. It's less planned than the podcast. It's, it really is just so natural and just there. So at the moment there.
How do you feel about, one of the things I see people struggle with on social media is the challenge of balancing promotion and engagement. And I'm curious about your thoughts about how you do that. In other words, I have this coming out versus if we're always just posting, I have this coming out, I have this coming out. I'm curious about your thoughts about balancing that.
Yeah, I know that, Brogan and some of those guys who are all friends of mine, they have these formulas like the 10% rule or the whatever. And I just feel, I like to use the story of my little brother. So when I was 17, my parents adopted another baby. My 3 brothers are all adopted. I'm the only freak in the family, the only birth child. So like my brothers say, when they bought boys. When they didn't have a choice, they had you. Anyway, so that's my family dynamic. But I was the youngest for 17 years. They adopted a baby boy, and I adore this child. We're very, very close. If you've already done the math, he's 26 now. We're still very, very close. But I always say it's baby brother syndrome. I tend to hear from him more by text and phone when he needs me. It used to be, when he needed money, like, hey sis, you need your yard mowed, you need anything done. Now that he's older and he has a great job, he'll call me when he's negotiating for a raise, or he'll call me, when he's looking at properties and wants some real estate advice. But typically he comes around or calls when he needs me. That being said, I know if I need him, he'd be here in a heartbeat. It's not that. But I think people have a huge radar for that. And if they only see you in social media or in their email box when you want something for them, namely, their friends or money or their time, they get the little brother radar on, and they start screening your calls some. So I like to say there are 4 C's that I like to keep in mind when I'm engaging in social media. And that is content, which we already talked about. Conversation, which means be engaged. Don't just be a blaster. Be consistent. That's how you overcome the little brother syndrome. Show up at every family event. Show up day in and day out, even when you're not asking for stuff. And then the 4th C would be to connect people to other people. So Doug could connect me to somebody else, even if it doesn't benefit Doug. You could say, oh, that's not really my field, but let me connect you with so-and-so. And then you guys should meet because you're in the same space. Or, oh, hey, I know somebody else who's a Packers fanatic. Let me connect you guys. How fun. You can follow each other's, painted chest pictures or whatever. So connect. Those are kind of the 4. Now notice none of that says promotion. None of that says, formulas, any of that. When I have something I think is of value to people, whether it's a webinar or a sale or something, I talk about it, and it's part of my natural conversation. Just the same way as when you walk into, let's say Macy's or Nordstrom's, and they say, hey, don't forget, Olive Cosmetics has buy one, get one free today. You know, while you're here, while we're already talking, don't forget there's this going on over there. I'm not offended by that because I'm already in their space. I'm not offended by that because they're consistently who they are. So I think, yes, self-promotion is necessary as a home business owner, or as any business owner, or you're going to be out of business. You have to be your biggest promoter. But I think if you only show up when you're promoting, then they're going to give you the little brother radar and they're going to tune you out. So you have to show up on a, not necessarily daily. I mean, your timing is up to you, but you have to kind of be there day in, day out, having conversation, connecting, sharing content, and being consistent, or promotion will get you banned.
You know, it's funny when you said that. I just had this funny image of somebody showing up to a party, uninvited, just walking right in and going, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book.
Right. Or standing up on a table in the corner, just shouting at everybody without letting anybody talk back. Like, hey, this is what I do. Hey, here's my book. Hey, I have a sale. You know, it's nuts. Social media is a great party. It's a great networking opportunity, but it's not all about you. It's really not. Right. And don't have little brother syndrome.
Oh, I love it. Carrie Wilkerson, you've shared such great content. Just in this you just gave it a great example just by sharing great content of this podcast. I so appreciate it. I want to make sure, again, if people want to learn more about you, can you give them a link again to your website?
Sure. It's CarrieWilkerson.com. That's CarRie, much like Stephen King's novel, CarrieWilkerson.com. And my brand is the Barefoot Executive. So you can Google the Barefoot Executive. I'm not the movie with the monkey. I'm the business brand. So there's a book. We have a podcast. I'm not nearly as consistent as Doug with my podcast. Or you can connect with me on my Facebook page, which is Barefoot Executive.
Carrie Wilkerson, thank you for joining me. Thanks for sharing great content.
Thanks, Doug. I appreciate the invite.
Thank you. And remember, everyone, that nothing you've learned here will make any difference in your life whatsoever unless you take action on it. So get out there, make it happen. Till next time, this is Doug Foresta at The Coach Zing Show.
Thank you for listening to The Coach Zing Show. Subscribe to us via iTunes, and please leave us a review. It helps us grow our awesome tribe. This show is brought to you by CoachZing.com's Speak to Publish book system. If your book is stuck in your head, we can help you get it out in just a dozen hours of your time. Go to CoachZing.com for more information. Have you joined the Coach Zingers community yet? You'll get exclusive access to private mastermind calls where you can get instant marketing help from industry experts. Plus, we'll help you forge deals and partnerships with other like-minded professionals. Go to CoachZing.com/community to join now.